When Air Force One touched down in Riyadh on May 20th, 2017, the red carpet wasn't just rolled out, it was gilded in gold. The Desert Kingdom welcomed Donald Trump not as a visiting president, but as a sovereign equal, a royal, a king. What followed was one of the most extravagant and consequential diplomatic visits in modern U.S. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into power, politics, and luxury lifestyles. Today's video is a wild ride through one of the most lavish presidential visits in history. Donald Trump treated like a king in Saudi Arabia and the shocking $3.2 trillion deal that shook the world. A jaw-dropping $3.2 trillion deal, yes, trillion, that rewired the U.S.-Saudi alliance forever. Let's dive in. A royal welcome fit for a king. From the moment Trump stepped onto Saudi soil, it was clear this was no ordinary state visit. King Salman bin Abdulaziz personally greeted him at the airport, a rare gesture typically reserved only for the most esteemed guests. A traditional sword dance known as the Arda awaited the president, performed under the desert sky with ceremonial pomp and tribal pride. Trump, dressed in a suit among men in flowing white thobes and golden bishts, even joined in, wielding a sword and swaying to the drums, a moment that instantly went viral. Motorcades of gleaming black SUVs swept the American entourage through Riyadh. Giant billboards flashed Trump's face side by side with King Salman's. The Ritz-Carlton Hotel was converted into a de facto White House abroad. Lavish feasts, gold-plated coffee sets, and rare falconry displays painted a picture of royal luxury, leaving no doubt. The Saudis were not only trying to impress, they were investing. The $110 billion deal, or was it $3.2 trillion? Publicly, the headlines screamed of a $110 billion arms deal. Tanks, missile systems, warships, and cutting-edge military technology, all to be sold by U.S. defense contractors to Saudi Arabia. It was branded as the largest arms deal in history, with future agreements ballooning the figure to $350 billion over 10 years. But behind closed doors, the real negotiations were far more expansive. Saudi Arabia wasn't just buying weapons, it was buying influence, partnerships, and transformation. When factoring in investments, energy, technology transfers, infrastructure, and regional security pacts, experts estimate the total package approached $3.2 trillion, a financial and geopolitical mega deal that stretched far beyond military might. The Crown Prince's vision, MBS and the road to 2030. Much of this historic transaction was driven by one man, Mohammed bin Salman, the ambitious Crown Prince with a revolutionary agenda. His Vision 2030 plan sought to diversify Saudi Arabia's oil-dependent economy and transform the kingdom into a tech-savvy, globally competitive force. Trump's visit was the linchpin. The Saudis pledged billions in deals with American companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, General Electric, and ExxonMobil. Silicon Valley giants like Amazon, Apple, and Google were courted to build out data centers, smart cities, and AI infrastructure. The Saudis also announced a $20 billion investment in a new Blackstone infrastructure fund, aiming to create tens of thousands of American jobs. Another headline Trump touted as a win for the U.S. lavish summits and strategic symbolism. The trip wasn't just transactional, it was symbolic. Over 50 Muslim-majority nations gathered in Riyadh for the Arab Islamic American Summit, where Trump gave a landmark speech urging unity against extremism. But unlike his campaign rhetoric that had often vilified Islam, here Trump adopted a diplomatic tone, praising the Muslim world's contributions and calling for a regional coalition to fight terror, especially Iran. The summit wasn't about unity alone, it was about hierarchy. Trump was elevated as the chief partner in a Sunni axis against Shiite Iran. The Gulf Cooperation Council fell in line. Billions were pledged to counter-terrorism centers, media initiatives, and military coalitions, all with America at the center. The sword dance of soft power. When Trump held that golden orb, yes, the infamous glowing orb at the opening of the Global Center for Combating Extremist Ideology, it seemed like a scene out of a sci-fi film. But it was a PR masterstroke, symbolism, showmanship, and soft power. Saudi Arabia was signaling a pivot. No longer the Wahhabi stronghold funding extremist madrasas worldwide, it wanted to be seen as a modernizer, an ally against terror, and an investment haven. Trump, the showman president, leaned into the theatrics. His brand of transactional diplomacy found its match in the kingdom's opulence. A deal built on oil, arms, and mutual interests. Let's not forget the real backbone of the U.S.-Saudi relationship: oil and arms. While America's energy independence had grown thanks to shale, Saudi Arabia remained the swing producer of global oil markets. The Saudis also remained the largest buyer of U.S. military equipment. Under Trump, the relationship deepened. The $3.2 trillion deal not only solidified decades of petrodollar diplomacy, but aligned Trump's America First doctrine with Saudi Arabia's regional dominance. It was less about alliances and more about leverage. Critics cry foul: human rights and hypocrisy. Of course, the visit had its critics. Human rights organizations slammed Trump for cozying up to a regime known for its repressive tactics. Just months later, Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist and U.S. resident, would be murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. A brutal act many believe was ordered by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman himself. Trump's response? Business as usual. He defended the Saudis, stating that the U.S. couldn't afford to lose hundreds of billions in contracts. America First meant turning a blind eye when national interests and personal relationships were at stake. Billions for U.S. jobs or billions for U.S. elite. While Trump often cited the deal as a job creator for American workers, many critics argued the benefits flowed more to America's defense contractors and Wall Street financiers than to average citizens. The $110 billion in arms sales certainly boosted stocks, but the impact on U.S. job creation was murkier. And the more you look into the $3.2 trillion deal, the more it looks like a partnership of elites, royals and billionaires, executives and politicians, exchanging favors behind closed doors while presenting a grand spectacle to the world. The legacy of the $3.2 trillion packed Trump's royal welcome in Saudi Arabia set the tone for a presidency that redefined diplomacy as business. The Riyadh summit, the glowing orb, the massive deals, they all became symbols of a world where geopolitics and commerce merged into a single transaction. Saudi Arabia got what it wanted: enhanced legitimacy, security guarantees, and global investment. Trump got what he wanted: prestige, headlines, and contracts he could boast about back home. But the deeper legacy lies in what it revealed: that in the world of realpolitik, ideals are optional, alliances are flexible, and the show, no matter how expensive, must go on. Epilogue: The Kingmaker and the Kingdom. As Trump left Saudi Arabia with $3.2 trillion in promises, he carried more than gold-plated gifts. He carried the assurance that, for all the criticisms, America still had a throne in the Middle East. And in that moment, with swords in hand and a kingdom at his feet, Donald Trump wasn't just a president. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. What do you think about the Trump-Saudi alliance and the trillion-dollar deal? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, where power, wealth, and untold stories collide. Until then, take care and keep watching.